This episode features Attorney Leane Sacares. We've been friends for about 3 years now, and I felt quite grateful that she was willing to do this. We get into a discussion and we cover a wide array of topics. It begins with our unconventional friendship, prejudices in general, cultural gaps between Filipino versus Chinese, interracial relationships, stereotypes that sometimes cause blockages in how people connect, quarantine struggles, of course, which is very relevant in the times we live in today. We also cover into dating apps like Tinder and its dangers, as well as superficial love, or how love these days is really watered down now. We also tackle into hedonism, impulsive pleasure seeking, and we also cover prejudices and preconceived notions. You know, as people, we have so much biases that sometimes we judge too quickly. And we also delve into her challenges of being a lawyer. We talk about the dilemmas between legal justice versus moral justice, and how she goes about her livelihood, as well as delving into a few complex relationships in her past sexual experiences, which she has been quite open about, a bit on penis size, which is a very sensitive topic that many would not discuss today, as well as infidelity, ego enslavements, internal warfare that we go through, sexual exploitations, DOM culture, and sugar daddy culture that is very prevalent in our society, where a rich dude sponsors or covers the expenses of this young girl, and in a way they take advantage of each other. As well as we delve into struggles with validation in a superficial world. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Yeah, Leane, basta na? How's everything
Hi,
going?
Mike. Murag serious manggayo ni mong setup diri.
Okay, para effort sa taginagman,
Yeah.
para dili lang sa ilamo-lamo ba atong kuan.
But I really like your your effort and
Yeah.
all. Murag, I think it reflects your personality.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna do something, might as well di na lang nato kanang half-baked bitaw.
Yeah.
Might as well give it our all and make sure it's legit. Anyway, murag uncertain man ang kalibutan, so might as
Yeah.
well give it your all ba. Yeah, musta naman?
Actually, this is so random.
Yeah,
Kaya you
random,
told
diba?
me
Kalit-kalit ra ni, di ba?
it was supposed to be last week.
Last week, but this has been on my mind for like the past few weeks, di ba? Naka-mention ko, and I've done a few ginagmay. But this is out of my comfort zone, as you know. So
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
kay sukad murag kuan ba ako private person. But I
Yeah.
think I've been compelled to
Yeah.
try new things, step out of my comfort zone para kuan.
Okay.
Suway-suway lang good po may mawa.
So how about we start with how we met?
Yeah, how we met.
Ano na lang, what's my perception of you before I actually met you?
Yeah, pwede. Because I've heard a bit about you, ginagmay. Kay
And I heard a lot about you.
Yeah. Naday ko yung murag reputation di ay. But yeah, we met, I met Leane about, Leane Sacares niya. Dili ra bidli.
My full name.
Leane Sacares, she's a lawyer based here in Cebu. Which law firm was that?
In sa legal law office.
Yeah, sa legal law. Dapit Dool's SM, no?
Yun, Dool
Nakahapit
SM.
Monday ko sa una. So we
Yeah.
met almost 2 years ago. Yeah, we've had a few encounters, no, ginagmay since the COVID pandemic hit. So kana murag one of the few murag unforeseen friendships, murag wa ko ga-expect na maamigo ta, but somehow murag fate led us to become friends, and murag natural rasad atong friendship. Even if lahi kay tag cultures of backgrounds, but somehow murag
totally different.
And wa jud tay ka ng transaction, like wa ko nagkonsulta nimo or wa ka nang discount para sakyanan. Diba?
But I used to drive Kia car before, Rio akong sakyanan when I was
Rio.
in law school.
Mayo, pasalamat ko. Kuha na sad niya Kia. Pero
Kuha na sa
ako
Kujili.
namugos ha, kaya ako di jud ko anang oversell. Kay murag mas may jud natural, and I think ato ang friendship is quite natural also, and murag kana wa ko nag-expect ani na maamigo kog lawyer niya, wa jud tay business transaction, and yet somehow murag daghan ra tag commonalities. Like, mo connect ra ba, even lahi kag upbringing, lahi kog personality, ikaw mas sabaan, mas tabian, mas extrovert, niya ako murag hilom ra on the side, but somehow daghan kaitag nastoryaan na, di ba? And now in a more public setting, we're giving this a shot. So
ako na pod mo share how I knew about you.
Sige, what did you...
camera mo tanaw.
Kani imo ha.
Okay.
What have you heard about me exactly?
So, tell all. So, mga year 2015, I think.
Dugay na sa
2015 ba to?
That's 6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago, I heard of a certain Mike Goho. Niya ako, wala naman ko care about like mga Chinese community in Cebu because I'm Filipina, and I didn't go to a school nga daghang mga Chinese and all. So, natay common friend.
Magkailar ako kinsan.
Natay common friend nga.
Gym mate nimo, di ba? Sa CrossFit, di ba?
So, she told me about you, how much of a jerk you are.
Negative light then.
In a negative light, yeah, that's correct. So I knew you
unflattering things. Okay.
But not surprising, right?
Yeah, okay naman. Na-accept na ako, of course. There are a lot of like rumors or whatever, reputation, assumptions or notions people have.
Yeah, so I was introduced to you in a negative light kay naalagi daw certain Michael Goho, ngayon ani ang reputation sa Cebu, and also ako when...
Paita sa ko. Sige, I can take it. Di naman kay ko conscious. Sa una, sir, ma-affected ko. Sige.
Yeah, so like, I will tell it straight. Naka-F-boy reputation, but yeah, ana.
Human.
So, humana na ako. Wala raman sad ko'y paki because I'm not one of those girls sa una nga mangitag nga kaila sa mga dato sa Cebu, and I think I would consider you as one of the rich kids of Cebu.
Rich kid.
Sakto
lang siguro. But
I
like to keep a low profile. I wouldn't say nadyo ko sa upper echelon or kami. Kuan lang gud, maninguha lang ta, tabang tas ekonomiya ug sa community.
So yeah, when I was introduced to you in that notion, murag, it fell off my mind kay I wasn't really thinking about having friends who are Chinese because I don't because
kay babag sa mga insect,
babag like prejudice because I didn't really want to associate myself pod sa mga rich kids of Cebu.
So kay image po dato like nadyo'y barrier no between Chinese na upper social standing o kanang mga working class na Pinoy. Na sila kanang stereotypes na views na murag mga hilas ning mga insect.
Yeah, correct.
Or exclusivity.
Pero so like Chinese only make friends with Chinese people.
Or also ang Pinoy, nasay ka ng collective ego ba? Or naay ka ng ego na kami, maura ni, this is us. We don't associate with your kind. So that creates a gap. Marag generalizations ba? Ni usay mo nang babag. But that's why atong friendship rare sad kay lahi sad ta culturally, but somehow a friendship was formed.
So like so ang gap ato between nga time and then now is like wala na jud to, like I didn't think about it, but like looking back when we met in 2019 ba to?
Yeah, mga 2019, around late 2019, no?
Or mid, 2019.
Yeah, somehow
like,
na-connect ra niya.
so-
Kita man sa gana ko in some bar or something. Yeah, murag, yeah, he saw me.
Oh, yeah, correct, 2018. But di pa tumaw ang formal introduction.
Yeah, di
Yeah.
pa.
So 2019, and then fast forward, mura halos everyday jud ta mong storya to the point nga damguhon ko sa tong gistorya.
Sakto.
But like for most people who know me and him siguro, it will come a shock.
Yeah,
nga
ma-shock na ano kaila ta or nga
Yeah.
tig-hang out ta. So, murag that would be like kanang rare ba or a surprising thing to see us talking or hanging out.
Yeah, cause I didn't go to Sacred man ka, di ba?
Yeah, sacred ko na
Sacred,
ikaw, di ba,
Lapu-Lapu.
Lapu-Lapu
Yeah.
and lawyer and di ba?
And I didn't have Chinese friends,
Yeah.
and you didn't also. Did you really had Filipino friends before?
Naaraman sad ginagmay. Yeah, pero di jud ko kanang social
Clannish,
butterfly like I didn't really get around much ana. Maghilomon man ko maluya man ko kanang daghag tao or kanang superficial. Usay it becomes really superficial that you don't really know kinsa ang true friends. So,
But
kanang, di sad
at the
malikay.
stage of your life now, can you say that you have true friends?
Yeah, I would say, but it's rare. Wow. Usahay ra sa kayo na true friends. So, kana murag. Pero pasalamat ta, murag grasya sad na from God na we're given like true relationships or kanang nadyoy ni paki nimo ba, like who looks out for the best for you instead of kana, di ba, mostly we operate transactionally, like we meet people, it's always what's in it for me mindset. Unsa may makuha na ko ani niya. Murag transaction bitaw mangunay ta. It's based on self-interest.
Especially that you're in that area of
so I'm exposed
life,
to
every
different
day.
people and it's very kanang performance oriented na like if ako'y makuha nimo murag di ta mag-usik sa atong oras. I have stuff to do.
Yeah.
So, maingana.
But I would say that it's not only in business, di ba?
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in relationships now, like daghan bitaw kay mga, I am sure daghan ka kaila na kanang mga nangita rag DOM or nangita rag kanang sponsor. Common ba na sa Cebu pero di lang.
Yeah, so let's talk about DOM life.
Kanang mga gwapa na maybe kuwangan og funds niya nangita og
Maybe.
nangitag sugar daddy because they want easy life para makapalit sila og mga branded clothes, mga Chanel, mga Hermes.
Have you been a sugar daddy?
Ako? Wala. Pero I was almost led there kay daghan man kog influences pod mga business people niya. Usay, you can't help but murag watch and learn ba. Especially katong bata pa ko, medyo naive ko niya na-expose ko sa kanang
Sugar daddy, sugar
na
baby life.
surroundings niya. I thought before na that was cool. Like, wow, kanang kaagbay left and right niya, mga 20-year-olds niya. I thought cool na. Pero karon I look at it, medyo bidli naman.
So what's the difference then and now?
Then and now, murag ka-realize ko na murag di sad na murag dili na sustainable ba. Kanang, if it's based on lust, if it's based on kanang image or appearances. Kay bidli bitaw tanawon kanang mga tiguang bitaw dato niya mag-drive nindot sakyanan niya ilang kuyog kay batanon like could be their daughter like maybe ang age gap 40 years. Yeah, maybe mag sports car kay bidli lang ba kay klaro na most of the time, I'm not saying all kay lagi love is blind pero most of the time najud na ilain giapas gamit ang tiguang nangailangan og lawas to feed ilang biga niya ang katong batan-on na babay na nangitag sponsor basig breadwinner sa ilang pamilya niya kailangan sad siya mo feed sa iyang siblings niya so kailangan sila mo hook aning sugar daddy na namiga so it's very shallow it's very dili siya kuan ba kanang meaningful
yeah.
It's not kanang sustainable if I think about it long term unless they would settle for such a hedonistic outlook na koan, but they're usually stuck in that certain paradigm.
But do you know people your age who are in that paradigm?
I can think of a few, pero kana maybe for now they think murag that's how it is, because I had that mindset na murag maura man jud ning kalibutan, like this is how things work. This is the world, like we just have to go through the motions, we have to be part of it or else mabiyaan ta, or like this is the way it is. So murag akog ni sunod ba, but then I thought murag dili man sad ni long lasting, kay it can disrupt relationships, especially marriages. It can distort families, and families is really critical for our society because it forms the community, it forms society. So imagine if all families are broken, katag sad kay ang society. And in fact, most sex workers or kanang mga burikap lagi or whatever, call girls, I know, mostly broken families. And I've interviewed a few in the past, like a few years ago. I've had some kanang interactions with them. So, murag destructive sad na gamitay ra bitaw, gamit ra kag lawas para impulsive pleasure. Short-term biga ra imong giapas. Tagaan nimo 10,000, 5,000, pero unsa may resulta para lang magawsan ka nya human. Murag pero ang future sa tao imong giguba. Future in the deeper sense kay maybe imong i-justify ba na ako man gitagaag 5,000 nitabang ko sa pamilya. So murag ang imuhang kanang kapritsyo or whatever imong bisyo imong gi-justify as helping when it's actually causing more damage.
But what do you say to girls particularly who engage in that profession na makasay sila nga mutual naman? So, what's wrong?
Yeah, I think ilaha na sad ng flawed or distorted mindset pa kay murag mahog ilang lawas na may puhunan nila. Kay ilang i-justify anyway, lawas raman. What's a few murag encounters anyway, I'm getting a lot for it. Murag temporary ra ni, that's always what they say, like kadyot raman ni, like once na nakapundo nako, magtinarong nako, like set up na sila butika or kanang ginagmay business, baligyag bag na mga imit, ambot na sa kanang mga negosyo or kanang mga face care, mga ginagmay, mga makeup, kanang
but on the other side of the coin, unsa imuhang tan-aw to like people who just engage in it for fun, kay nakastere naman ta og those who are paid to do it. Those who do it for free.
I think ang uban murag they do it to explore ba ilahang sexuality, pero na-jud na repercussions kay I think ang design sa sex dili man jud kana meant for promiscuity or meant for kanang multiple partners. I think na-jud na in a way murag na-jud na way mo balanse ang Ginoo kay if kabantay ka, di ba, if sige rag padayon og promiscuous life, naasay consequence like AIDS, STDs. So murag may ra sad jud mo compensate ang Ginoo, like if mo abuse ka a certain aspect, whatever bisyo, naadyoy repercussions. So in a way that's why murag di sa ko katuo ba na why Ginoo, makaingon jud ko nay Ginoo tungod aning objective laws or kaning balance sa atong world. Like di ba, if you do something extreme, naa sa joy repercussions, like if sige ra kag inom, like it could take a toll on your health, or if sige kag kaon nambok kag ayo niya, naadyoy balance ba, there's night and day, there's sleep, rest and work, naadyoy kanang yin and yang in a way, or kanang balance. So that's why kay mao man tong giingon ni Dostoevsky ba to na if there is no God, everything is permitted. But then, naa may laws that we cannot escape. So, that made me think na naadyoy lawgiver, naadyoy higher power, who's in control, overseeing everything. But dili ka nang pinahaliwod na murag spirit mo kalitog, wa man ko ka-experience ana. Pero naadyoy something sa atong life na murag there's so much fine-tuning, there's so much intelligence na
like things happen here are not accidental.
It cannot be accidents. Like like this cup na adyo'y design ba or
yeah.
ato ang mind, ato ang structure, like it's really meticulously designed. Dili, it cannot be byproducts or accidents. Murag dili should ni aksidente na elements, na math, na ingana ba. All these complexities, all these fine tuning around us, there has to be a source, or there has to be like a first lawgiver or kanang a prime mover in a way.
You also spoke about complexities. So, you think that life is simple or complex?
Definitely complex. Well, both simple and complex. Pero I would say daghan bitaw lisod ang life, which is what also compelled me to do this. Kay, I want to talk to genuine people who have perspectives. And it's important to share our struggles.
Because I also noticed, like when we first talked about you creating a podcast, we also observed that the category or genre of people who create podcasts are just, cliché, like
mostly it's like
hard. It's deflective, like kanang just enjoy life, that like the usual advice that you can hear from people.
It's mostly kanang it's about the form ba, like focus kay sila sa image or presentation, pero ang depth murag lacking. And ka-notice ko in our community wala kayo na siya.
Yeah.
So then I thought murag these conversations are essential for our growth as a society.
Because you were also the one who introduced me to Peterson.
Jordan
and
Peterson.
Jordan Peterson, and then when I read the book that you gave me, then we
12
started
Rules for Life.
we started discussing about it. We realized that why aren't there people or like young generations are not talking about these kind of topics?
Yeah.
Like people in Cebu are just working or
lahi
partying.
I think na culture gap ba.
Yeah.
At kita murag maybe tungod third world zeta, so
Yeah,
tao walay oras mo huna-huna kay busy sige kayo og pangitag kwarta. So mao na misconception na kanang mustoryag mga intellectual things kana lang mga privileged kids or kanang mga hayahay.
Sige rag lubog sila. So what do you say to people like that nga? Di na ko mag-think kay I have so much worries in my life to worry about that.
For me, murag that's like a lazy response, or that's like the easy way out. Murag
Lazy
justify,
response
but
to...
they can justify that, but I'm sure mo stagnate ra na sila. Like mo yung sila, wakoy time hunahunag lang may busy kong itag kwarta. Pero I'm sure mo reflect sa ilang life na murag diha ra sad.
Taman, diha ra sad.
Okay ra ka where you are then. But then,
by all means,
as people, we're constantly aiming for something. Murag, sige, pangita og truth or pangita og meaning. Bitaw, we wake up every day, murag, unsa may buhaton karon na adyoy seeking for some sort of meaning ba, whatever it may be, lain-lain man tagi gukod, lain-lain man tag whatever interest. So that's also a subjective
so
aspect.
before, when you weren't would you say before nga wa ka nangitag meaning sa imong life?
I think go through ko kanang stagnation or kanang murag.
When was that?
I think just 5-10 years ago. Murag luktaw ba? Luktaw ra ko. Murag maura man ngita lang tag kwarta, balance lang. Maybe kaon lami,
That was actually my dream of you 2 nights ago.
Oh yeah, what was the dream exactly?
Yeah, when it's just random dream, like we have, me and Mike have a group chat. Mike, and our other friends, and in the narrow path.
Yeah.
Like we talk every day, then murag ka-sense lang ko nga you're going through something.
Yeah.
Like that, like these days. So I dreamt about you, then murag in hindsight, murag ang dream lang was all about nakay-gideal in your life, but you would want to escape it by eating lami nga food. So you just said nga kaon na taglami ay para balance ang life, then nakamata ko.
Pero that was my outlook before, like kaon lang, itag gwapa or ngitag ka ng okay na partner na mo minawi a trophy partner na
trophy wife
na mo advance sa agenda, whatever superficial or kanang transactional agenda. Di ba usually ang agenda is to grow bigger. Most of the time we go through the motions pa. Ngita tag trophy wife, ngita tag kato akong lutaw days mo jud to murag maniguro lang ba murag. I know na may aspects we also have to look out for ourselves, of course, kay how can we help others, di ba?
Yeah.
It starts with individual responsibility before collective responsibility. Mao to giingon na clean your room before you
change
fix the world. Kay saon pag fix the world or tabang collectively a group of people if
nagkalisod pud ka.
Hindi man gay ka makalimpyo sa imong own room. So
True.
murag who has the goal to say that? And mga people like Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
diba?
will get cancelled, but we don't care.
Like bata pa kayo niya talk about climate change. Well, ambot unsa iyang gi-seek jud for more power to her whatever she's seeking, pero I think murag na disconnect gamay if one talks about issues like climate change or kunohay helping on a global scale, but then murag ilang own problems
They can't
they
fix
can't
it.
even fix it themselves. So I think it begins with us. How can we
Yeah.
help others if we can't even fix
Fix
ourselves?
yeah.
So individual responsibility is, I think, very essential.
And I also remember Peterson responding to a question murag inana nganong na mga tao nga who really advocate for large scale social issues, and
Yeah.
I really liked his response when he said na people advocate for murag large scale
To
social
look
issues.
good for in front of their neighbors.
Yeah, and to compensate for their own self
Yeah,
insufficiency.
murag kay insufficient sila, so mo project sila
Nga
na they're
na
doing
sila
something, and that's a reality that we face na katong mga tao grabe kay mo kunuhay
Mo care sa world.
gibuhat, pero murag naa sa daytoy daghan internal struggle so na sort out.
yeah.
So mo na lisod kay magpinamayng laki mo na ako di sad ko kanang murag magpinamayng laki kay tinuod daghan pag area sa akong personal life na medyo gubot pa man sad, so di sa ko mo kunuhay like daghan kog ayuhon sa gawas.
But you're creating this podcast in the hope na
It could also impact certain individuals, and we could have real conversations and get
With the reality of
different
life.
perspectives.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And sa reality pod sa life, no? Kay
Reality, harsh realities of life.
Yeah. Because a lot of podcasts now only talks about how beautiful your life is, how you need
it's
to
always
celebrate
like,
your life.
What to
Like
do.
nothing wrong with celebrating
Nothing
life.
wrong.
Yeah.
Tama na way.
Nothing wrong with like kaon lami inana, but like if di arasad ka photo murag
Yeah, di harasad. Kaon lami or unsay best destinations or best practices or kanagong mga magazine kana bitong
Cosmopolitan.
how to tell if someone is into you or how to get a person to like you. It's always kanang ingana.
Did you used to
ang
believe
platform.
in those kind of advice?
Yeah, I used to like madako kanang mga cliche advices sa una kay mura kanang nindot paminaw niya mura kog ma-impress.
Empowered.
Pero as I got older ni usab bitaw ang perspective, like kakita sa ko na sa los aspects sa atong life ba nang kining mga may laki masturyan mapaling sila ba in a way. So I think you can attest to that kanang feel na kay nimo murag you're on top of the world, and I know nasa kay mga kanang extrovert friends who's like loud sad sa community or kanang very image driven. I'm
So,
sure
but
you
what-
can relate to them.
Why do you think people tend to project a certain image in society?
I think it's rooted in boosting their ego also. Kanang, syempre, ang tao, di man ganahan ma-lonely. I think that's a great fear that most
No
of
man
us
is an island lagi.
most of us human beings fear a sense of loneliness. So, muna, ganahan ta mo belong. Ganahan ta ma-accepted sa community. That's why we are social beings, di ba? Mangita jud tag people
Connection.
to connect with niya. Di ta ganahan i-shun or i-ostracize. Mao man na, di ba? Kay hadlok tawgon og loser or or kanang why friends or why kuyog, like hello.
Yeah.
That's how society judges us man sa good na. Hello, kasi trabaho, ayaw na ipa-date sa imong anak eh. What na future?
Yeah.
It's ana jud ba. So it's a harsh world. Honestly, it's built on credentials, it's built on performance.
And especially with Chinese Filipino culture, right?
Yeah, that's
Like-
very common sa ako Chinese community man ko. Naa sa joy ka ng factor na dapat kini para ma-preserve. It's about preservation. It's about kanang
Preservation of culture.
preservation and collective ego na murag exclusivity ba. Kami mao ni amoa. Murag this is our goal. This is us. We don't kanang mingle with your kind or kana murag it's built on that pa. In a way, it's comparable a bit to maybe the monarchy in ana. Kana bitaw. Yan, but ni tanaw man kog The Crown recently. So nadyoy ka nang i-preserve jud. Like diba kato si not sure if you read katong uncle ni Queen Elizabeth, si Edward VIII man to. Murag kuan siya sa shun siya. Murag he had to abdicate his throne because he was the king. Next in line siya to ang king. But since iyang gusto minyoon na babay is a two-time divorcee, murag wa jud
acceptable.
Really acceptable. So he had to abdicate his throne as a result. So
mura di Meghan Markle.
yeah, history
style.
repeats itself. Bro, same way like ato kang Princess Diana o Prince Charles, di ba? It wasn't an authentic marriage, muraman to gitupo-tupo niya, murag ni tando lang si Charles niya. Pero iyang true love kay kato si Camilla Bowles, di ba? Mao to nagkadayon gyapon sila.
Yeah. So, speaking of marriages now, what do you think about murag ka-age man ta, di ba? 30?
Yeah, I'm 31. I think you're
going
30.
30, yeah. Like with people our age now, I tend to notice that we don't really rush into marriage.
Yeah, lahi na. Atong parents time, murag masayo. Akong parents mga early 20s, to mid 20s.
Yeah. Why do you think it's that kind, murag diha ta leading towards not rushing into marriage?
Yeah, I think nanay kana self-preservation, like hadlok to be tied down. Yeah, atong culture karon or atong lifestyle, it's changed so much. Yeah, murag ni degrade na ba. So lahi na ang value system ug ang priorities. So ang tao ron murag di na ganahan mo add responsibilities or kanang burdens, mangunay murag unahon ilang sarili ba. Pero it's a matter of choice, but ni deviate na jud ang generations. Like lahi na kayo sa panahon sa 50s, 60s compared to karon. And that's reflected also in like the shows we watch, the songs we hear.
Yeah.
All of that.
I also watched murag The Bachelor 2 days ago, di ba I told you? Then I think that was The Bachelor Canada nga 28 years old siya. In fairness ko siya. Then he's successful successful entrepreneur, and then
to nimo, di ba?
Hindi ko ganahag. You know, I don't like white guys.
Ganahan man kag black guys.
Yeah.
Ano ganahan kag black guys? Sige, istorya ta.
So mo to.
Chemistry yan, hilig ng mga negro.
So, I watched The Bachelor Canada, then there was this 28-year-old guy nga he set to meet 25 bachelorettes pod nga ganahan mo minyo niya. Then the whole time nga nag-watch ko sa show, kay di ba musod man na ang limousine with girls. Diyan ako na kay kapuya ni like nagwa ka 25 ka buok babae in the hopes of finding love. Then in your first meeting, remember ka sa mga aning mga bayhana. Then like when they went inside the room or something, kay mag nag-socialize siya with 25 girls. And then like what I saw in that scenario is that people will do everything to find love.
Oh, desperate in a way.
Yeah.
But the thing I notice about those shows, The Bachelorette or natoy Too Hot to Handle, di ba? Daghan kay
Too Hot to Handle.
Kanang topo dating shows ba? Unsa pa to napatoy bag-o kanang mag-shuffle sila niya. magpili ay og partner, di ba? Di ba nay kanang ana na setting lain-lain og mechanics each show, but more or less murag kanang based jud sa kilig or chemistry ba.
Yeah, and there's also one kanang murag lingaw nga show kanang Indian matchmaking.
Yeah,
diba I told you about it nga there's like a guru nga mag-collect siya biodata sa mga babae ug sa mga lalaki nga single, and then she murag mo jud ang job nga she will find who is suitable for you based on your credentials. And I think that's pretty much what's happening in society right now, na if you have this certain credential, you tend to be attracted to a person nga same nimong credential.
Murag ka ng psychology test or murag ka ng ilara match ba based on the interest which isn't really natural. Murag ka ng finding a blend somehow. But the thing about those shows, I noticed, it shows you the desperation that people are really looking for love or whatever their definition of love may be. Mo na ilang panita. Daghan kay uhaw na tao out there nangitag intimacy. Yeah, but the thing about those shows, pinugos man good. Yeah, maybe
it's so artificial.
It can last. Like I don't dispute that possibility, but as I also read man like atong mga nagkadayon sa finale.
Yeah, in the Bachelor.
Usually, di man magkadayon after like a year kita ka, nagbuwag naman di.
Because you can't really know a person in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even really know ourselves on a deeper level, and we're like 30, almost 30.
Okay, di ba, dating, usually we put our best foot forward. That's usually the case na murag. You project something that you're not to gain that acceptance from a person or to para sugtan ka, di ba? Effort kayo, pero once ka nang minyo na or whatever, together for many years, magkaluslos na ba? Manggawas na tanan tinuod baho, mawa ng kilig, mawa ng intimacy. Gawas na ang tinuod baho, kuan din siya kanang.
But so speaking of dating, I think it's also different culturally. Kay I think we were just recently introduced to dating apps like mga Tinder,
Bumble, Tinder.
Yeah. So like in Filipino culture, it's like getting to know each other or like introduced by a common friend. But like now it's so easy to get laid because of Tinder and Bumble.
Lahi na bitaw karon kay, 'di ba, outgoing na ang tao, pero except karon pasalamat sa COVID, wa na kayo namiga mga tao.
I know COVID. People who'd still engage in that even in COVID.
Ilang ingon na to'y joke na article na if mag-ana mo, if mag-sex, kailan mag-mask.
Or magtalikod mo each other, mag-dog style mo. That's so stupid.
Para dili lagi mag-abot, pero murag ang tao kung gibiga, ang mangita, nagpaagi bisang saon.
Yeah.
Diba? If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, and I think the introduction of like the easier way of meeting people resulted to the generation of our culture, and especially with women like my age. Kay we become so cynical about relationships. Kay it's so superficial, it's so kanang meaningless.
And the more cynical you get, the more you self-preserve. Kay murag you see, wa ayo ang tao, gamitay ra.
So like why bother?
So di jud ka mo go deeper kay hadlok ka ma-hurt, hadlok ka na binuangan. So na jud kay barrier. There's that numbness that results from that na tungod na hadlok i-hurt. So siyan lay una mo kanang likay. And that's a common thing now, but it's worse these days compared to our parents' time. Kaysa yun naman good karon, like Tinder or Facebook, add friend lang niya, sleazy chat like, hey, saw you.
I saw your car somewhere.
I would know kay murag sabi ko mulihok sa una. Pero na sleazy moves good kanang, as you said na kanang fuckboy moves ni katon man sa tana.
Was it difficult for you to shift from like a lifestyle nga it's so easy for you to get girls than sticking to like one girl now?
It was a gradual process. Dito murag dali. I went through a lot of shit to murag get to ing ana, but I think it also came with maturity and age. Murag
Yeah.
appeal ra sad siya sa journey ba kay like sa una of course murag maglabaw pa ang shallow things, so murag you wanna explore, you wanna meet different women, or di ka resist like uy nay gwapa diha, murag di jud ganahan jud nimo murag ila-ilahon ano. Mga ing ana, but then eventually murag it burns out also. If let's say sige ra
Na burnout ka when you met a lot of women.
in a way murag I also questioned like there has to be something more, like if you go into a hedonistic approach to life, pleasure seeking, that's what it means na sige lang kag look for one night stands, or let's say dili one night stand bisag fling kanang short term relationships, murag it's not stable, murag why stability it creates more chaos, especially kung daghan kag babay, lisod kay time management, lisod i-balance
MWF.
or malimtan nimo hatag og buwak ang isa, or time management, or masayop na kag kuan sa mga pangan,
Or like tago ka diri nga place kay diri mini kuan sa una, so arin lang sa ito
speakers. Na go to with this particular girl, mao jud ning go to, pero di ka maglibog niya in Cebu, murag dali siya mo kalat sa ang storya if like naa kay kuyog na
and it also
oy mastoryaan man jud because people also love to talk here,
and it also reinforces your deceitful life ba, because you can't really expose who you are because you're constantly hiding something from the other person.
No, so sige tago, pero in a way maka burn out sad na like people talk niya sige kag tago, sige sa kag chase after meaningless pleasure, like it takes a toll on you. So mao to yung ka na kay reputation na dungog about nako sa una years ago.
I was 25.
I think
there is 5 years ago.
There is some truth to that.
So what made you change?
I think maturity and realizing na murag there's more kanang meaning to life ba, kay ang meaningful things sa life they're usually the difficult things. Example like raising a child, lisod man na siya, like hugas kag tae unsa pa na maihian ka niya saba kang bata, pero you would go through that process because it's meaningful, as opposed to like adto lang kag bar niya inom ana lingaw-lingaw,
one night stand,
like that's fast pleasure na meaningless, as opposed to something meaningful like mukayod ka. Example as simple as going to the gym, you work hard to get whatever like six pack or for your health or unsa whatever physique you want to achieve, lisod na siya pero imo na agian. Or even in sports, di ba, like kana silang Michael Jordan naning kamot jud sila to achieve like his championships, so ning agi jud siya lisod to get where he is, as opposed to katong mga talented na basketball player pero kadyot ra kay wa jud sila naning kamot, so murag 1 year sila ni sikat murag na das bisyo na may mga ingana. So it's the difficult things that we need to get into ba, na that creates substance and that creates significance sa atong life.
And why do you think people always choose the easy way?
Easy way?
I mean, it's easy to say manggod nga wala lang.
People choose easy kay sayon man mo, may mas sayon buhat man muragod ka ng enigmata nimo, mas lami man jud matug pa extra 1 hour kaysa mo bangon jud niya maligo niya kana mo set og meeting and pero kana it's also important to find that certain kuan sad ba purpose and passion or whatever it may be para naasa kay reason to wake up in the morning, and sometimes that's hard kay lisod biya ingon na for common people like us, like in a third world country, murag lisod sad kay we're not necessarily equipped with all the talents, like naiuban kana laging mga like actors or nay talents, mga musicians, murag niya timing passion nila, so they excel in whatever field. But for common people, I think it's much more difficult kay murag hilig sila ani pero they're not really that good. Like, let's say, naiganaan mag-singer, yabag na ito. Di ba? Pugson jud nga yung pagka-singer. Wala man. So, kailangan jud siya mo mangitag trabaho na, let's say, accountant or whatever. Mag-ahinte siya. Kay it's nice to be passionate, pero you also have to be realistic sad ba na you have to pay the bills na nasa yung ana ba that hits you like passion lagi ganahan siya mag-musician pero what jud mo work out, so he has to find other alternatives also na realistic. I think na uban na bungaw sad ba na murag mao jud ni ilang gusto pero di jud kaya, pero murag they're living a dream ba na disconnect from reality. So it's important na di ta bungaw sa reality. So na reality check sad.
What's your recent reality check?
Kana ang COVID, so daghag uncertainty. Sige kag plano expand ana whatever or create like businesses unsa pa na, but then daghan og repercussions ba, like daghan magnahitabo na ako, which is what compelled me also to murag have this existential murag moments or kaning kusog ko mo introspect sad about the difficulties, because I think nakoy akong dad na nasakit niya ang COVID hit, then daghan sa ko gi-go through personally sa akong career. So murag nagdungan ba, so I think mura sad need ka ng wake up call, maybe naalay things that we need to face head on. Okay, ambot timing ra sad, maybe it's also plano sa Ginoo na ingani ang happenings to like bring us back or to wake us up in a way. Yeah. Ikaw na may sige pangutana. Ako na say pangutana sa
sige, ikaw na may pangutana.
Murag one way lagi ni. Sige.
Sa man imong gusto may bawang anak kung magkabaw na makatanan.
Nag-lawyer man ka? What made you decide to become one?
Di siya, magkatawa siguro ka sa kong tubag.
Yeah.
So, backstory kay, I'm a graduate of political science, USC. Then, I finished political science 3.5 years. Yeah, naman ko'y 6 months break. Wala dyan ko'y gibuhat pag 6 months break, like siguro YouTube. So, that's when I learned how to put on makeup. Yan, nakathink sa guwato, mag-vlogger ka ako, no? Kay, ba't di pa mo tuuso ang vlogging? 2011.
Hadugay na.
2011. So, kathink kung mag-vlogger ka ako, no? Pero murag, wa mo ko'y cam or like, wa mo ko'y talent o editing, ana. Then, nag-wait ako sa akong mga friends in Polsai nga mag-graduate. Yeah. So, I finished it man earlier. So, I asked them, kung nga magunsa mo after. Then, na sila, mag-law school me. So, since board man ko, niyan ako nga, sige, mag-law school na lang sad ko. And then, muna din to. I became a lawyer na.
Ni settle ra ka ato? Dili na necessarily like as a kid, I want to be a lawyer.
I originally wanted to become a doctor. But pag college, kay ka-realize ko, bugo man kong science. Like, maghagbong kong biology.
So what?
Yeah, writing, public speaking. Yeah, inana. So, I figured, mag-lawyer na lang ko. Then, when I went to law school, murag dindot siya nga character development because you endure hours of study, reading, then gabi man among classes ato in law school.
Di sad lalim ma-lawyer. I imagine, akong impression sa lawyer sa murag kanang cutthroat kay na field na murag bitaw ka ng numbing ba, murag makacynical sa like maybe makadawat kag mga kaso daghan kag divorce, magkihaay sa pamilya or mga ingana na scenarios ba. And in a way, murag you have to fight through the legal implications with also kailan diskarte, kailan sa in a way maruay, and you have to murag, di ba? Murag maruay ba, not necessarily so how do you balance that like without compromising morality ba? Because di ba uban mo dawat to win a case, bisan murag grabe ang evidence guilty, but you have to murag protect this client bisan kanang how do you go about
actually it's a nice question because pag law school pa lang daan when I was still a law student, naasad ko yung bad impression on lawyers. So,
Yeah.
we were
Diba,
taught,
ang impression,
Yeah.
bakako ng malo, or
Bakakon,
may
lawyer,
masturya,
liar,
or kanang slick kay ba, kanang may kay mo,
manipulate.
mo iskapo, or palusot kay ba, palusot, may kay mo,
Yeah.
road builder ba, kanang, kanya. Yan, mga,
Or like the black becomes white or the white becomes black. Mo dyan ako always
diskarte ba sa legalities, whatever, on side.
Yeah.
Kuan.
So, ever since in law school, we were taught good na there's a difference between legal truth and moral truth.
Yeah.
If you talk about lawyering, we always focus on the legal truth. So, we will do our best to advance our client's interest legally. But when you speak of moral truth, kabalo man jud mi nga there are things in the law nga dili siya acceptable to normal people nga wala kasabot sa law. Because we have a legal maxim that says the law may be harsh but that's the law. Dura lex and lex. So that's the law. We adhere to the law. If you have a problem, we can solve it for you, but within the bounds of the law. So, if you speak morality, di ta magstorya ang morality.
So,
but that's a gray area. That's a gray area in the law.
Like, let's say, na rapist niya. Sa legal truth, nakalusot. Pero sa moral truth, murag na-adjoy.
Nga, rapist jud ka. Yeah.
So, how do you deal with that? Let's say, if you're representing a rapist niya.
An alleged rapist.
Yeah, an alleged rapist that you have to defend, but then inside you, or murag na-adjoy overwhelming whatever na murag rapist yun siya. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
The moral aspect. Lagi makalusot lagi sa papel whatever say within the bounds of that. But how do you cannot deal with
deal with it?
Do you select your clients, or what if murag maujud na ang client and then wa kay choice?
So before, I used to be so concerned with kanang kuan man ni siya, kanang rapist man jud ni siya. But
nakatry ka
we have rape cases in our firm inana. And what I learned with my bosses, I have 3 male bosses in our firm. And the way they taught me lawyering is we always advance our client's interest nga stick gyud ta sa law with an empathy. Because if we just be too legalistic on all things, it's helpful if you are a lawyer. But when we consider the moral side of it, nami empathy, but within the bounds of the law.
Within the bounds.
So, it's not just dili mi mo handle og rape case just because we believe or we don't like to be associated with rapists, alleged rapists. Because there's a beautiful angle in the law nga di masabtan sa normal people. That's why murag mag-listen po ko explain. But yeah, there daghan og gray areas in the law. But if we speak courts and how to defend an alleged rapist, sa law na dyan base. But that's what makes people so cynical about lawyers, because I've been told nga murag wa makay heart, or dili lagi ka kanang makonsensya, or I have a conscience, but
kana ako, that's what I deal with, because diba we're human beings, so we're made up of kana emotions and rationality. So naatay side na objective. Nasa tay side na objective, natay side rational, nasa side emotional. Naman jud tay biases internally, of course. Pero I think it's kana murag, I think di sa jud lalim a lawyer having to deal with all those, especially if konsensya or kanang those moral aspects ba. So I think ako di jud kaya.
That's why there's a saying that litigation is not for the faint of heart.
Kailangan jud murag objective ug kanang isog emotionally siguro na tao.
But it's emotionally draining sometimes, especially if we have emotional attachment to some of our clients na ma-worry gid
medyo
me.
na malikay.
Yeah, but that's the side of lawyering that people don't see because what they see is that ni-defend man ni siya rapist. Or ni-defend ba ni siya og like kawatan or unsa?
Ang human race di man sad gud ta murag robots na ani lang na-enjoy ka ng humanistic aspect ba na kana murag di ba you empathize with your clients or kinsay na biktima or ano.
But
or you also have to hold accountable the right way like kung ang tao na wrongdoing murag kailangan sa jud na mo pay sa ilang consequences.
And that's what is beautiful sad with the law because you can hold people accountable legally. Example, if you want to seek support for your child and dili man na nimo basta-basta ma-enforce, especially if like daganan kasi imong baby daddy. So we do all means
ang baby daddy mo talaw ngano ni enter in the first place hindi makabuhi. Daghan mga bitaw ng mga cases.
Now po na mix, but like now that I'm seeing like deeper aspect of life, murag I don't only see the legal side of it, but I also see the side like why do people do that? Like nganong naitaw ngay ana.
Pasabot ganyan na chaotic ang life like kibaw naman ang tao na risk ana but then buhaton gyapon. Mao na daghan lagi kabuang ang tao which is
I think the more we introspect, the more we acknowledge that there's really chaos in life, but like those people who don't introspect nga sige lag palami, like sige lang hobby, deflect lang ta with your hobby, like di na kayo mag-think about it.
Fuckboy niya na sila yung mamabdos niya. Di sila mo take responsibility. So na issues like abortion. So luoy sad ang kining unborn child kay tungod lang resultas biga niya wala ni hunahunag tarong kay wa jud siya kapugong kay grabe jung biga kay siguro lami jung babay or unsa. Pero these are aspects na mao na kabuang tao even though rationally murag usay mo take over jud atong emotions or atong mga carnal flesh desires
carnal
which is
desires.
Why we also have that animalistic nature na murata
which is the default of human beings. Animalistic and carnal man jud ang tao.
Di ba natay urges, sex drive, emotions, or if lagot ta usay makalabay jud butang or kanang road rage pod good, di ba? Kanang di ka pugong sdan namnay cases like pagawas jud pusil na sila mapusilan jud nila tungod sa kalagot. I think naman to'y case, di ba? Katong police, katong I don't care, sa to, katong katong naini binuang niya, I don't care, ang mama ba to? Gipusil ang kalit, duha. Caught on camera pa jud, so grabe sa to ka horrific na image pero. Kana usay di ta ka kumpiyansa sa atong emotions like or even recently, di ba si Ravi Zacharias, like he's known as a prominent Christian apologist, bright kayo nindot kay siyang mga libro. Tanaw ka, murag wow, like grabe yung depth. But then yung personal life, like after he died, nanggawas yung baho na kuan na day siya mga naked photos of women in his phone, daghan siya sexually abused, mga masahista, kini laging mga masahe-masahe.
Extra service.
Extra service, hanky-panky, ganang, di ba, happy ending.
That's also what makes people cynical about religion or Christianity.
Daghag pare, di ba, pare na anak sa gawas or na mga pastor na murag wa sila ni pakis tao ilang gipaki ang ilahang simbahan nagkadato man ilang simbahan or kana gud may lagi mo storya daghan kay pastor may kay mo storya daghan kay daghan mailad to be honest murag
their beliefs is not their life is not reflective of their beliefs.
Murag na ay disconnect like kita ka dako simbahan ay grabihag kanang quality ani like ilahang hall, ilahang mga sawg, high budget jud kayo ba. Yang tapad squatter, murag najoy this sense of exclusivity sad. Nasa sila mga impositions like dapat ani ang groups. So
rules and ontos.
So it's also run like an institution or an
Politics.
organization. So it's still run by leaders, it's still run by money, it's still run by an ego, a collective ego. So daghan sad mailad kanang may kay mustorya ka, may mustorya. Yeah. Pero ang life di mo reflect.
Yeah.
So I've seen that. That's why for the longest time I've been very skeptical about kana religion mo na ako sukad sa una, although I was raised a Catholic. Murag nadyoy disconnect.
Yeah.
As a kid, murag I always questioned that, like unsa man jud ni na like what's the point, like church attendance mga ingana, or kanang naay disconnect jud ba, like how they live their lives or these issues ba. Murag wa ko kasabot mo to, sige sa ko question sa una mo na ang religion broad sa kayo and it's so complex also.
Yeah.
Daghan kay religions also in the world, di ba? Buddhism, whatever, Islam, yeah, Catholic, sana Christianity. So it's so
But you used to
broad
believe that there is a higher being.
I would consider myself spiritual in a way na nangita kog answers, seeking for answers, and I know there's a higher power. But di kay ko motuoan ng notion like i-bless ka if sige kag pangayo or ampo, or magsige kag good, or magsige kag do good works or mga ingana. Murag it's very conditional. It's also very murag genie ang Ginoo na murag magsige lang kag binutan, hopefully tagaan kag bagong negosyo or naa kay ma-meet na kanang gwapa
Investor.
murag I don't think it works that way in a way. But then religion mostly represents ingana ang ilang pag-present na it's based on kana what you do, like how you project yourself or but that's a very complex like topic jud na murag but I'm not religious by any means. I would say spiritual.
Yeah, but what I noticed pod with Filipinos is that we are raised, like I am raised pod Catholic, but majority of Filipinos are Catholic because it's a hand-me-down religion. So meaning, it's an inherited religion, but they don't really understand why they are Catholic. So they just practice the tradition.
Diba, pag bata na to, grade 2 man na usually communion.
Sagpaon ka, sa to, edad nimo sagpaon ka.
Confess sa pare or baptism. Pag ikakibaw na, baptize na ka. Welcome to the Christian world. But murag bitaw kuan kayo. Murag it's very routinary or daghan og kanang rituals. Yeah, murag na disconnect kay murag go through the motions lang. Even ang rosary wa kay ko ka-grasp jud ana sa una, like why there are the or ngano mo confess yung kag pare na di ba naman ay box ngano abli pero that's another issue na siguro kanang mga rituals that we carry or we perform ba.
But the common ground is that human good is hopefully looking for something that's bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
But I think also a lot of people escape through other means of hobbies na lang kay di sila ka-find kung unsa ilang gipangita. But they get so engrossed in the pleasure-seeking paradigm nga na-stuck sila there.
Yeah, it's
so like di na
a cycle
makita.
Bitaw. No, na tagay kay, di ba? Stressful ang week, inom sa Sabado,
may inom ron COVID, so lain na po diskapos mga tao.
lahi. Or online shopping, or unsa pa ba na. So, lain-lain, pero na lisod.
So, generally people are looking for meaning, but they get stuck in the cycle of pleasure seeking kay di sila kalusot dira kay magnalingaw pud sila dira na paradigm.
For them, they settle for that impulsive meaning kay ilang meaning is in pleasure. So diha sila.
And those people don't acknowledge that life good is suffering.
Lisod man jud ang life, like daghan jud distraction, like di ba grabe na squatter niya kita ka na ay mga mansion, whatever kanang billionaire. Grabe ang na oligarchs niya na say grabe paverte jud or
Yeah,
may,
like the roads going to Shangri-La, Dusitani,
Yeah,
and
diba?
all the beautiful
may
resorts.
mga kana permi gahukas usay makabantay bitaw ka Cebu kanang naray gahubo na buang galakaw-lakaw dan. Na jud kapila ko kaagi ana ni ambot murag gubot jud atong kinabuhi murag
Yeah.
na-enjoy. Like it's really katag kay ba like lain-lain og stories, lain-lain og circumstance.
But hopefully your podcast will help people start introspecting.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Murag mao man ang purpose. It's really actually my purpose for this murag kuan lang jud. Like I want to have meaningful discussions that hopefully can have some lasting impact lang in a way.
Okay, I used to listen to podcast man sad nga kanang mga women empowerment, mga like you can do it, stay
Okay,
positive lang,
yeah.
do this, do that, like pag-journal or like sort out your schedule good, but it becomes so exhausting because you're not naturally like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people wonder why, sige paminaw og mga podcast nga palami, ano mo dyan na change akong life? Or like, sige
Yeah.
buhat sa mga law of attraction, ano, magyapon na tinuod.
Yeah. Pero ka-realize ko, ang tao, nangita jud sense of encouragement. You'll be surprised, like,
yeah,
kanang
correct.
tao ga-perform ta, but if you dig deeper, ang tao na jud na gibati, na jud na go through ba.
Yeah.
But they are not able to
Express it,
express it. Murag, ilalang i-keep inside and murag, everyone is struggling. Like, I'm sure daghan kay tao galutaw. Like, ako
Or like
mismo.
accepting the reality nga mo naman dyan ni ang life. So let's
Yeah.
just do what we're used to doing
Yeah.
because apparently it works.
Yeah, but for sure, daghan jud lutaw individuals out there, myself included, on some days, like
Me
lutaw.
too.
Kausad, di ba? Lutaw. Usay, lami lang yung magtanga sa balay, usay niya.
But I also, we thank the God nga we met, and we met also people nga who led us to something
Yeah, naraman sa
deeper.
joy purpose, I think they said accidents ba?
Yeah.
The people we meet, the people we encounter, I think naatay there's a higher purpose for that, and it's up to us ba how we deal with our free will, how we respond. Like na kay there's something presented in front of you every day naman jud na
Yeah.
maabot problema or tao or something. It's how we respond to it, and it's
hopefully
either,
we respond and not to escape from it.
yeah, hopefully we respond the right way, maturely, instead of, murag imo lang kuan nimo gitarong and many
Deflect
problems
or-
also pile up, and murag na in all aspects, career, family, relationships, friendships, every aspect na
Yeah.
jud. Bisan self-care, etc. Bisan, di ba?
I like what you said earlier nga murag people tend to project a certain image of performance but deep down they are struggling because I'm used to be that kind of person. I used to be that kind of person before nga a lot of people tell me na oh you look so kanang nice kay you're like this and like that, but like deep down we don't really know our individual struggles until we really know the person.
Yeah.
So it is our hope and our fervent prayer that people also will have genuine relationships like us, will find people whom they can reveal themselves, and hopefully your podcast also will help people introspect
lang,
more.
like we'll see how things unfold.
Yeah.
But like there are many struggling people, especially internally.
So what makes people not deal with what they're struggling?
I think na different escape or coping mechanisms, like since wa sila yung makita, so they just settle lagi for temporary highs or ingana bitaw. Okay, diba? Mao man na kung kapoy na may alcohol, na may
Or sleep.
or bisag tog, bisyo or whatever kanang kaon, lami or whatever naman ay different hobbies which can also create an
As a
unhealthy
never-ending cycle, yeah. A vicious cycle.
But it's how we're also programmed as social beings, like diba, mangitag hobbies, etc.
Bakasyon.
Mga bakasyon, marag mo
Or
reward
one
ka sa imong
relationship.
self, like ni kayod man ko ani, I deserve like a break, a vacation.
But we want to clarify that there's nothing wrong with it,
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. We're just pointing out that hopefully we find meaning in life that's more than the pleasure seeking. Okay, there's pleasure but
especially
in meaning.
Impulsive pleasure. Like okay raman jud mo engage in whatever hobbies or whatever kanang pleasures. Like nindot man mag binge watch o sa Netflix shows, di ba? Lingaw
Nothing to do, maglubog ra.
Tanaw mga salida, tanaw sa or kanang fun shows or mga whatever, listen to music. But that's part of our creativity also as human beings.
But choosing not to deal pod.
Yeah, lahi sad if kanang you're stuck ba in a rut. So it's different if you're stuck in a rut. Yeah.
It doesn't develop your
and
character.
What's dangerous is it doesn't develop your character and it leads you to some form of nihilism where it's just meaninglessness.
Like los raman itanan.
Despair. So that's
what's
why,
the point?
Yeah, that's why there are some people na mo downward spiral sa ilang life, which is dangerous. Like I don't know unsay stories anang mga beggars put sa dam, but maybe they weren't in that state. But somehow it led them there or kanang mga beaten up na kay sa life naman ko yung mga na-meet. Like it's a funny thing about life, like it's up and down. Like katong uban dato sa una mag na pobre na karon, nay pobre sa una dato na karon. So di jud matag-an ang kinabuhi sa.
But why do you think the idea of success sa mga tao kay kana jung mudato ka?
Because they think, well, it's true that money gives you a lot of access.
And certain level of comfort.
Comfort. You know, lisod sad ang kinabuhi kung way kwarta. Kaya ang kwarta, of course, can pay for hospital bills if masakit ka. Or you can get the best medical care or whatever things you need ba. Pero na limitations po ang kwarta, di ba? Pero mao na tungod ana na mindset na money can give you access. So usahay ang tao, they become so greedy na mao na ilang preoccupation. It's acquiring wealth. Nothing wrong with acquiring wealth. Nindot man na. It's good for the economy. It's good for kanang giving jobs. Of course, di ba? Kay if you employ mo bounce back atong economy niya, there's progress. But usay kuya kung greed na ba ang maglabaw na kwarta na lang jud tanan ang bottom line na it's money over people na or it's things over
relationships,
over real people. Kay people now tend to value things more than people. Diba? Murag kuan na kay ba it's really the monetary gain. And I understand kay I guess some people
are so
they really
accustomed
want
to the
they're fixated in securing ilahang livelihood
sense of
ba?
security.
Yeah, kanang di jud sila gutmon or na jud sila kanang comforts, access to comforts. Pero okay ra man na to like aspire for something, for a better life, to eradicate or minimize the chaos we endure. Siyempre, mas nindot man sa jud if first world ang country kaysa third world to bring us out of poverty. I'm sure the world's problems will be alleviated so much if we eradicate poverty. And how do we eradicate poverty? It's by fixing the economy also. So, for me, akong view, nothing wrong with that.
But money can't totally
erase
of course. The sufferings of life.
Yeah, but it can help reduce, but di jud siya kanang guarantee ba na money solutions tanan.
Yeah. Diba? And most of the time, people who have money problems, kay kwarta ra say makasulbad silang solusyon. Unya ilang problema balik-balik kwarta ra gihapon.
Yeah. Pero say people dig themselves a hole ba kay kana lagi. Like if they should sila inclined in business pero pugso nila, mangutang sila, mo pile up more utang, di sila kabayad. So it can be tricky ba. It's a slippery slope at times. So that's why dapat careful sa jud mo.
How many years naka working for your company?
I'd say about 10 years na. Dali sa kayong oras.
Lagi 10 years.
Like, it just went by so quickly. So, murag time, grabe kapaspas. Murag dali kay pagtamaniguang.
In an ideal world, if you're not in that industry, unsa imong ganahan unta i-venture? In an ideal world.
Ideal world?
Like seeing the complexities and harsh realities of life.
Ambot mo na ni suway-suway ko aning podcast.
Mo na yung mo nga ni.
Murag step out na ko gamay sa kanang akong usual comfort zone. Pero I enjoy kana psychology, human behavior, philosophy, or like looking into these problems ba. Like daghan man jud questions. Like what pa jud na tubag ba? You wonder like unsa man jud ni? What's it all for?
Yeah.
Really?
Like unsay purpose?
Like unsa nga no?
Like sige ra tag kuan, sige ra tag trabaho every day.
Limited atong oras, di ba? The years go by quickly. We're not getting any younger. We know there's a limitation. We don't maniguang ta and soon, di ba? We can't function as properly. So we we make the most out of it. Pero kuya said ng YOLO.
While we can.
Like YOLO mindset, like just seek pleasure until you die. But people can choose to do that. Of course, di man tam mamugos or tell people how to live their lives. That's murag hilas rasad na pa. Or murag kuan ra kayo, self-righteous ra sa paminawon. Pero hopefully murag naay kanang substantive and significant kanang mukatay sa atong kinabuhi, sa atong encounters in our relationships.
Because I wouldn't also believe na we're just here, like me, I'm 30, you 31, we're just like on our age or accustomed to think nga like pang minyo naman nga age, but mo na gyud ni. Like mo na gyud ni ato expectation in life that at 30 we will strive for marriage or to be successful in our career.
Usual cycle, di ba?
Yeah.
Una,
college.
Bata ka niya, get good grades, so you get a good job niya. Once you settle down na kay income ninyo, start a family, niya inigtiguang nimo ang
Huwag na lang kamatay in between that.
Bata na nimo mong bantay nimo para na imo look after you kay luoy tong way pamilya kay die an old person by themselves. Nasa'y inanak ba?
So like, you wonder what do people do in between those years? Like 30, nganak ka, then take care of kids, then what kay mong kids na kids, then after that, what na lang kamatay, so... Inana.
Bro, ka-realize ko ka na I think important yun ang relationships. Meaningful relationships that we nurture. And that starts, I think, with family also. And whoever we encounter ba, na it's about like real and authentic relationships. I think mawjud na ang core ba as humans.
Or like at the inception, be real with ourselves, be real with our struggles, be real with our vulnerability and our own insufficiencies na daghan pag yung dapat i-overcome.
Daghagpuan. It's a struggle bitaw because we struggle with external factors. Daghan bitaw issues.
Especially with social media now. Like, I used to be so like, wow, nindot siya life, ana-ana. But like, seeing many complex realities and truths in life, murag los man ang external projection, di man
tinood. What about unsay actual?
What you talk about sa internals gid sa tao.
Lisod bitaw mo gauge.
But I think you will only know pod if you've encountered also a certain level of introspection pod sa imong self nga inani day ko, and you will see that in other person. Like there are a lot of times ka murag ma-mirror nimo. Like me, I can say na in our 2 years of being friends, I can say that there are parts of you that I can see in myself.
Same with you. Na commonality. I think naman jay commonality generally ang human beings ba. Like that's why we're able to relate.
Yeah.
Like we feel pain, we get heartbroken, or we cry, or we want intimacy, or we want like a meaningful path, or kana all those aspects. Ganang tangka og lami. Or mo diba? Marag na adyo commonality regardless of how different we are personality-wise, etc. Yeah.
So, that's life, and hopefully mong padayon ng find meaning in our lives.
Yeah, marag it's kana lisod man ang journey bito kaya kalibutan daghang challenges, pero ang challenges marag essential jud siya for allowing us to progress and grow. Kaya if easy life sad marag wala marag way paingnan.
What's your idea of easy life before?
Kana lang marag bed of roses na life na
struggles.
everything is just marag you're well fed, you don't go through hardships. But unsa say resulta, let's say if kuan jud ka like anak kas dato niya marag wa lang jud ka gitudloan og sense of responsibility or whatever. Marag lutaw ra ka throughout, or wa ka mo kat-on og how to relate with other people. Like na jud na disconnect.
Yeah, and I think apart from climbing the corporate ladder as other people would like to term it, it's hard to like perform in the world, but I think we're also privileged enough na maka-introspecta.
Yeah, marag nasa purpose nga no, bright ang tao, like di ba marag we seek love, we seek kanang meaningful things, so naa jud na purpose na ngano ana sad ang design sa tao, pasabot na joy end goal diha. So whatever that end goal is, maybe that's kana knowing God or knowing truth, whatever that may be. So it's really getting there, because each day it's really a journey that we're getting somewhere. We're not just floating. Like there's an end goal, and I think purpose of life is to know your creator or know God, instead of kanang finding happiness. Mao man ang usual, di ba?
Find your happiness.
Find happiness, but it's really finding ultimate meaning and truth, I think, ang purpose sa life. Kay up and down man ang happy
Yeah,
moments.
you can't be happy good 100%
Yeah, kay kung
of the
happy ra
time.
sad sige, murag di ba? Wala.
Marag din na sa nakatuuhan
Di ka
siguro.
feel happy kay happy man perfect. Kailan?
So like
kailan mo agi kag sad, whatever, mad,
yeah.
sa pa na other emotions. Para na
So you yearn
happiness.
for the kanang next high of life na pod kung sige ra kag happiness.
Yeah, so it's about kana that meaningful journey over sige lang happy. Yeah. So it goes
But nothing
deeper.
wrong with happy, but
Nindot man
hopefully
sa jud ang happy. That's one of the great emotions we face pod. Kanang joyful emotion,
Yeah.
lahi na. Yeah, it produces that great feeling ba.
and I hope people who will listen to your podcast.
Sige, balik. Enough about the podcast. Murag tanawon lang gud sa. Pero
Yeah.
ikaw, like I understand you had murag a few dysfunctional relationships with like in the past.
Yeah.
Because you also escaped with pleasures or di ba hilig man kag mga negro sad or
Mga gid.
negro kay di ba Pinoy imong uyab sa una ni level
Hello to
up
my
kag
ex.
ag negro. Yeah. Kana
And other races and
other
nationalities.
races. Ani tilaw-tilaw jud kag lain-lain. So tinod nang once you go black, you never go back.
Yeah, cause it's not sustainable.
Like
Like biologically, if women, for me if women will choose good like men nga dako og size.
oh, negro. Tinuod jud na no, or that's just
Yeah, but like not only black men, but like those men pod nga who has a bigger size than the
Well-endowed.
Filipinos. Kanang gifted down there.
Well-endowed lagi.
Gifted down there.
So kasuway
for
ka
me,
ng
it's not.
well-endowed.
For me, it's not
Migro,
sustainable.
of course. Kay?
It's not
You mean
sustainable.
biologically?
Yeah, cause for me, dili siya sustainable cause nindot ra siya. As I said before, nindot siya tanaw externally in what we're accustomed to,
ganun.
like movies and all, like mga pleasure nga salida. Like,
Di ba sa porn,
nindot
di
ra
ba?
siya.
Sa porn,
Oo.
mga dagko man dyan, mga utin, mga porn stars kay, it's what's aesthetically pleasing to, or nindot to look at sa camera.
Yeah.
Pero,
Okay, people
sa
are so bored
actual, size,
dili gid siya
like size matters
pleasurable
for you.
pleasurable siya at first.
At first.
Cause it's something new. But
Okay.
like in
Murag
the
ni cross yung new areas.
mura it's something new, but in the long run you will I realized nga murag dili siya sustainable after so many years cause my vagina can only accommodate as much.
Mao ba?
Yeah.
Na siguro na proportion, no? Like kung Pinoy ka, so
I don't
Pinoy sad na utin ang match nimo or ambot.
ambot wa ko kay baw ana, but like for me dili siya sustainable in the long run, and more so that it's only that phase in my life nga murag explore ko.
Pero kuan sad na, di ba? Mao man na gi-portray sa movies
lami gid, basta
like
dako.
bigger, better.
Oh.
That's true in to a certain extent.
To a certain extent for a short time.
For a short time. Pero kasuway sa ka ng
Normal.
gamay gutin niya.
Oh.
So lahi
Yeah.
lahi jud.
Lahi siya. So,
Comparison.
yeah, lahi siya.
Unsa to?
But-
Insekto or unsa?
Pinoy good.
Pinoy.
Pinoy good. Normal Pinoy
Yeah, kaya
stuff.
naman ay kanang, di ba? Kanang gi-project good, like, mao bitaw
Yeah,
na say
yeah.
complex, like, kanang mga laki, like, ma-conscious sila, they want a bigger dick, jud, or ma-affect ilang self-esteem, kay, like, gamay sila notch, or mo, ng term ron, di ba? Sa mga bayot, notch. Asam na, gasugod ka ng notch.
Mga bayot kyapon.
Bayot gyapon, pero,
But like, when you see that, it all boils down good to human nature nga wants to please people,
Yeah, pero
wants to please themselves.
it's also a fixation in most men na murag kailangan dako, or
Yeah.
sa para ma-please, or
But like, before, when I
mga
was...
babae sad ka nang like magchika-chika, like kung
like, dako to siya kuan. Like,
di ba mao man na
dako.
ka nang murag bag-ong ka-date niya,
Oh.
magchika-chika mga babae na like unsa man mayo or kanang
Yeah.
dako iyang otin or
Yeah.
unsa banga ba or
But like, in hindsight, you can see nga murag people who get so fixated in that if like lami ba ang sex or what is like inana na jud ilang life nga they're
yeah, murag
They're-
stuck ka in
yeah.
at that shallow paradigm, like dako
Yeah.
gamay, which is
dako gamay and then next
maora ba.
yeah
Murag stuck ka there niya. Mao nang mga superficial girl talks, di ba? Kanang
Yeah.
magdungan sa CR, magstorya-storya about ilang partner, ilang manghambog sila, dako. Pero it's quite surfacey. Murag naara diha ba sa surface?
it's also a manifestation of your emotional bankruptcy
yeah,
nga
murag,
mo settle na lang ka og inana.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm grateful nga I'm not that lonely anymore to be settling in that paradigm.
Okay. Sa una nangita jud ka
Yeah.
notch pud.
I was exploring for like a year
Different
or
races.
two.
Tilaw kag, di ba, ni murag natoy time na share ka, like, salamat Lord, nakatilaw na kog negro.
Mo tang type. Yeah, but like in hindsight, I was karon realize ko nga murag kalonely din ako sa una no nga I was settling
murag
for
nangita
that.
ra jud kag takog utin para
Yeah.
ma-satisfy imuhang whatever bigat
Yeah.
in that moment.
And I was also grateful nga ni agi ko og inana cause I won't be able to relate to other women who are also in that paradigm. But again, we don't obligate
Yeah.
people to change, or we don't obligate people not to seek pleasure because people are programmed to seek pleasure.
Yeah,
man
free
yun.
will.
Yeah,
Mao bitaw
yeah.
na free will. Di man gay manghilabot ang Ginoo sa atong free will. Tao
Yeah.
pa kaha na magbuhat buot-buot na to.
Yeah, that's what makes life so complex. Kay murag di jud ka katagaan what will happen in your life, cause if we become so impulsive, we engage based on our impulse, then after murag ka sa muka, ngano ni agi mo ka to nga stage, or like nagmahay gid ko. Kanang mga inana, but like looking back, murag kasira sad ka.
Mahay fully kay I'm sure na kay na learn along the way.
Yeah.
So murag you look but back, like, katawan-an sad murag buangan ako sa una, no.
And like when you are already murag dili sad murag accustomed to it, but like if makalaf na ka about it, you will really see
in a way, that's also maturity because you're not so fixated on the little things.
And you're not so fixated about the mistake that you committed before.
You can just look back and buangan na sa una, no. Ana lang without like thinking sa man jud to sa una na. That's also maturity. So ikaw do you see yourself like getting married soon?
Now that I know a lot of people who are struggling jud in their marriage, and me also, I have a lot of my personal struggles, I don't think that I would get married.
Pero makaminyo pa kag Pinoy or Negro na jud.
Nice question. I think kanana sa mga
kanang maka-go back ka, like nakatilaw naman ka.
Kanang dili na.
Nakatilaw naman ka ingani, makabalik pa kag ingani.
Kanana sa mga medium kay dili siya sustainable.
Kanang fights lang.
Kanang marriage, bumita na ang mga joke nga ang kanang black dick is for only one night stand. It's not for marriage.
Bitaw.
It's not for marriage nga.
Pero tinood ng black or nasa mga
black?
No,
other races.
Pero nasa mga black na gagnay.
I wouldn't know kasi
kaya ang stereotype is tanan Negro, di ba? Dagko jud.
Well, genetically, gyud.
Murag, I think part jud na sa ilang structure. I think ang mga Asians ang mas on the looy side.
Kaya Pinoy or Japanese.
Hapon.
I have Japanese friends.
But usually, mga Japanese porn, di ba, mas on the smaller side. Kanang Japanese porn katawan-an sa kay, di ba, mga babae mo pa dyan mag hilak-hilak, di ba? Kanang lahi jud, like porn sa Japan, porn sa like Chinese, porn sa European, American, lahi ang ilang theme or whatever ba. Pero ang Japanese na jud kanang pinahilak-hilak. Pero anyway,
But when you see po dating now, murag, it's so sad why sex is a part of it good. Like why can't people date and know each other?
I think sex kanang during dating complicates things, but what can you do? Ang tao bigaon man, so ganan jud mo tilaw. Okay, di man sad the ideal is sex after minyo na. Ideally,
but
pero of course kay
wala naman na.
Kay free ang tao, mo na di na ma-escape na murag ganahan jud makatilaw jud. Pero nasa joy downside if like sige sex before marriage niya. Niya murag ma-attach niya if let's say di madayon mas sakit ang breakup, mas di ka let go or mas grabe ang siloso paradigm kay mas pilit naman. Mas grabe
and
naman
that's
attachments.
And that's also what I want to talk about kay a lot of men that I know will say nga there's no emotion attached to sex.
They compare it like ang laki murag physical pleasure ang sex. Usually generally speaking. For the woman it's more of an emotional experience.
So do you think that there's always an emotion attached to sex? Because I think people would want to compartmentalize sex and emotions.
I think murag connected jud na siya. Di man malikay like if sige kag sex sa isa ka tawo, you're bound to like get attached. Mao bitaw, that's why nabitaw na sa mga salida kanang friends with benefits or no strings attached na. Murag kuan lang ta, sabot ta ha, sex ra ni.
Sabot ko no.
Sabot ta ni inig actual na isa mahog jud or maigo na. Maselos na di. Murag I think that's a way of murag coping na murag ipagawas ba na murag wa ko'y emotion like I can just do the sex without getting attached, but then human beings are more complex than that. So
Or
naturally ma-attach, then murag you get mired into that dysfunctional pattern, which is dangerous. That's why sex is also like a drug. Na ma-hook ka ana. Yeah, if sige-sige na, mo na, let's say you have a sexual partner, niya wa kay plans na minyoon na siya. So grabe na ang repercussions, I would say, from that.
But it's so ironic because it's easy for some women to open their legs, but it's harder for them to open up themselves.
Yeah, those are one of life's ironies.
Yeah.
I would say. Ramona, because we're so used to
pleasure
the
seeking,
pleasures, etc.
But it's sad pod nga our culture today is ang mga women is so cynical about relationships na pod, because on their part we don't discount the fact pod nga there are women nga dali ra pod makitag laki. So it's not only lalaki, it's the women empowerment narrative karon nga alos man yung mga laki, but daghan sad ko nakita nga napoy mga babae nga luslus. So it's
it goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Wa sa joy ayo.
Yeah.
Mangita ra jud ka nang sayon.
Yeah.
Nasa laki na tarong na murag kuan lang sa jud naning kamot. So there are many layers to it, and it's hard to compartmentalize because every individual is different.
And it's also about upbringing sa person.
Na, nature versus nurture, like atong wiring, atong genetics, whatever, atong personality type, plus the environmental factors added to that, or who our influences are while we were growing up, or kinsa ang ni tudlo natog sayop. I'm sure daghan kay mga pinamay na mentors pero sayop day gitudlo. It creates a different mindset throughout. Like let's say na kay gi-idolize na uncle na babaero kayo. Marag na imong gi-look up to, imong i-emulate yung actions.
So it's really your upbringing.
Yeah.
Nga nganong imong coping mechanism kay sex, nganong imong coping mechanism kay trabaho.
Yeah.
Nganong imong coping mechanism kay kaog lami. Or travel, or
sa panadara ng mga pleasures, but of course, as we said, like hopefully we get to the root. We get to the root. It transcends to the root. Yeah.
Like, and people also introspect why man gyud ka na akong coping mechanism.
Yeah, kana. It's good to know yourself, because sometimes you yourself don't know yourself.
Yeah.
Like wa ka kaila ngano ani bitaw ko no.
Yeah, and people seek connection with other people. People would want to know other people, but wa sila kaila silang kaugalingon.
Yeah, na mga ironies like that. Or di man kakita sad fully sa imong self.
Yeah.
So you're so used to a certain behavior na for you murag normal ra, pero daghan na day tao na damay sa gawas. So na other layers such as that also.
Yeah, the complexities of life. Nice.
Yeah, so I think we can wrap that up. Thank you for having me as a guest. I hope maybe we can do this again sometime in the future, but I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Although medyo we deviated from one to another, but I think that's fine, because hopefully murag natural man akong approach to this. I don't want it to be like a scripted thing. This is just
topic, ana.
Let it flow lang ba? Let it flow naturally, and I think mugawas ra man na kung unsay
sud sa kasing-kasing
or unsay kanang kibate, or unsay mga things that is of great importance to you that you would want to discuss.
Yeah.
So
but these are the topics that we usually talk every day, that we usually talk about every day. Although in lain og little manifestations, but there's a common ground about how hard life is, and why does it seem like kita rin nakakita nga lisod ang life, but
I'm sure daghan tawo looking for something or struggling with something. So we can wrap that up, and pasalamat ko sa tanan. Thank you for listening.
Listening.
If
And
ever.
hopefully na pa may topic in the future kung dami mga struggles.
Yeah.
More struggles in life.
Yes. So,
Thank you, Mike.
Salamat kayo, Leane.
No handshake kay COVID.